What's up, dorks? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has finally dropped. Did it live up to the hype? You're about to find out in this review, which will contain spoilers at some point, but right now you're safe. When there are spoilers, it will be on the screen for you to be safe, but for now, you're okay.
You got like 10 seconds max.
In my opinion, it's a great addition to the MCU. Great new tone with Sam Raimi. Totally took it by the horns and turned it into his own thing, which I love. Fell flat a few times in one or two things, maybe a few plot holes, but I do think the 2 hour runtime hurt it rather than helped it. I think there could have been a lot more on the cutting room floor that they could have added into this to maybe make some scenes make more sense, but I think they dropped a lot of the cameos and or plot threads that the MCU has to make it a more Doctor Strange film. It was a lot more contained for a movie called The Multiverse of Madness.
I also enjoyed it. I agree with you. Sam Raimi had his hands all over it in the best way possible. I think that's probably my favorite part of the movie overall. It's just seeing his influence throughout. I think it might fall victim to sort of what we spoke about with Moon Knight, where maybe our expectations of it were just a bit different than what was really executed. And so I guess it could have suffered a little bit for me there. But overall, I still had a really great time. Scarlet Witch was in her fucking bag on this one. It was cool just watching her do her thing.
I actually love Scarlet Witch in this movie. Elizabeth Olsen brings the A game again. I almost thought this movie deserved to have Scarlet Witch's name in the title with Doctor Strange, because this was almost more her movie in a lot of ways than it was Doctor Strange.
I think if you talk about emotional arcs and who the movie's really about, I think it's much more Scarlet Witch.
America Chavez, great addition, cool powers, and I loved how she played on Doctor Strange, a different version of a Peter Parker, I guess.
America Chavez is a lot more of a sympathetic character than Peter, in my opinion. I really felt for her character throughout. I thought her character was written in such a way that made me want to root for her. It can kind of get away from you a little bit when they're introducing new characters, especially when it ties into this greater thing. But I really, really loved her as a character. I thought she brought a lot of depth. And again, it was cool just to see her use her powers in such a comic accurate way, because I was kind of worried it'd be watered down a little bit.
There were times in the movie where I'm like, wow, they're really going there with some of these horror aspects with Wanda's powers. Here's one of the problems I have with this movie. You can't go into this movie without watching WandaVision and potentially What If without having like a head scratcher moment. That hurts the movie a little bit in my eyes, because I feel like every Marvel movie tries to at least make it inclusive enough that you can pick up right there and enjoy it. This one, I do not think that's the case.
But I think that that's going to become more and more difficult as things progress. At this point, they're making a lot of assumptions about the viewer here, and that they understand almost every phase up until now in its entirety. At what point can you keep all these stories superficial with everything? If it's a continuous narrative, at what point can you make them so introductory for new viewers and everything like that? So I agree that it definitely hurt the movie, but I think it's going to be a thing that we see more moving down the road.
I will say maybe keep the kids at home if they are afraid to turn the lights off at night. Definitely some scary imagery. It is a Sam Raimi film. Great introductory horror movie if you want to get your kid into some horror movies. What are you giving it a score so we can go straight into spoilers?
A score, I give it a 8 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 7, and we're going to explain in the spoilers.
Real quick, what MCU movie is a 10 so we can gauge it?
I have a very special place in my heart for Infinity War.
That's a 10 for me too, as far as MCU. Okay, yeah. All right, we're on the same page then.
Okay. And we can get into it. So, out the gate, what we need to talk about right now is the Illuminati. If you're still here and there's the spoilers. Okay, you know the Illuminati's in the trailer. This is your last chance. I saw my boy Black Bolt.
Yeah.
He is one of my favorites. You only get a little dose of him, but he was great. I love that he's considered the powerhouse of the Illuminati.
Because he fucking is, man. I don't think for people who don't know, Black Bolt's that fucking guy, dog. He told Doctor Strange a fucking secret and wiped him off the planet, dog. Wiped his ass out. He spit a fucking verse and took him out of the universe. He's definitely the hardest dude up there. Don't let anyone tell you anything different.
What happens with him, which I want to get to that in a moment. I want to save all that special scene that makes the movie for me. John Krasinski drops. What do you think of that? Reed Richards in the MCU.
I liked it. I thought he fit it. I thought he fit it well. I think they were a little reliant on us just knowing that Mr. Fantastic is really smart. I wish they could have kind of highlighted how smart he is and how special Mr. Fantastic is, because I don't think people know that like Reed Richards is like arguably the smartest person in all of the Marvel universe.
Marvel Multiverse, right? Kang the Conqueror is in the lineage of Reed Richards. So Reed Richards is a lot bigger than you think. For anyone that doesn't know Doctor Doom, he's like the villain of the MCU. Like, fuck what you heard about Thanos.
Why it fucking dragged his nuts on Thanos, man. No problem.
And Reed Richards is like the only dude that Doctor Doom respects in the world.
He only respects Reed Richards, dog. If anybody else is talking to Doctor Doom, get that shit out of my face.
Reed Richards drops. I thought he looked great mannerisms. I love how he enters with the technology, a little bit of the politics of the Illuminati, how they're very like that seems to be a running theme in the MCU right now is everyone's will on everything. Civil War, they want to control the Avengers, they want to control Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange like breaking reality, he needs checks and balances. This universe has its own Illuminati. It seems like the perfect Marvel universe. You have the fucking X-Men, you got Black Bolt, the Inhumans, Fantastic Four. Only person you were really missing in that room was Black Panther, which I low-key wish they would have taken out Mordo and put in Black Panther.
Mordo was not hitting for me.
No.
What wasn't hitting for me.
Mordo's not a good character to me. His whole purpose is just to be jealous of Doctor Strange, and that's just boring to me.
Yeah, just hater. Just hating.
You get that moment, and I almost wish they didn't show you this in the trailer, but I feel like Marvel just knew there was no way to hide the amount of hype that was coming with this.
Yeah.
But Patrick Stewart rolls up in the hover chair from the 90s cartoon. I welled up for a second. I was like, I didn't think I was going to see this in the MCU.
Our boy.
And he's the only one in the Illuminati and the politics of all the bullshit. He was like, man, I give you a chance, man. Everybody deserves a second chance. Dude.
Would have liked to spend a little more time with all these characters. Like we mentioned earlier, a lot of it is reliant on you already have seen other non-Marvel, like non-MCU projects, kind of just knowing about the Fantastic Four. Captain Marvel, their version of Captain Marvel was Rambo.
Yeah.
Don't even really have a feel for who she is at all. And I'm curious as if we're going to ever see her again. But would have liked to kind of get a feel for them as characters a bit more. But still, pretty cool scene. I was hyped.
The way that I perceive this world, I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but with all the plants flourishing and how like progressive everything was, and obviously that Thanos was in this world, in my mind, this world never re-snapped everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is Thanos' utopia.
I would say so. I definitely got the utopia vibe from it.
In that timeline, Thanos still snapped everybody away. They defeated Thanos, but at the cost of they couldn't bring everyone back.
I think in Black Bolt's and Infinity War, that's a 10-minute movie, dog. I'm curious to know how that went down with them, how the Thanos thing went down. But overall, I thought that scene was really cool. Definitely brought out the inner kid for me. The original X-Men movies and even X-Men Evolution, the cartoon that used to come on, was like that was really the first Marvel stuff that I consumed as a kid. So X-Men always have a soft spot for me. So seeing him wheel in on the hardest wheelchair of all time, it was great.
When Wanda, when she goes all in on the Illuminati, that scene makes the movie for me. John Krasinski, why'd they do my boy like that?
Dude, I would have liked to see him do some more stretchy shit personally, but he just got his ass yoked up so fast.
They silly stringed his ass.
She killed everybody in like the worst possible way, like the most humiliating way.
So this is going back to Black Bolt now. I love that Mr. Fantastic kind of turns towards Black Bolt and he goes, listen, if we wanted to, we can wipe you out right fucking now.
Should've just did it.
Honestly. Instead of talking that shit, they should have wiped her out right there.
My thing is just like level of ignorance taking place. With Reed Richards, it was especially disappointing. I understand, not science, not his realm, but come on, man. If nothing else, this scene let us know how strong Scarlet Witch actually is.
All of Kamar-Taj basically gets murdered by Wanda, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty hardcore. Like, we're talking about, like, the world has been protected by Kamar-Taj for thousands of years. Now she rolls up on the Illuminati, which is like the United Nations of superhero teams. This is all the high-ups of every team coming together for a multi-team event, and they all get destroyed by Wanda. Like, Black Bolt, reality changes and he has lips no more, and then blows his own brain out by trying to use his powers.
The way that she killed everyone was just took what they used and essentially used it against. I mean, good old Peggy, man, just got fucking split with the shield. When you just see the aftermath of the shield as it lodges itself in the wall.
Raimi's been out of the game for like 9 years. He came back with a bang. Captain Marvel puts up the best fight.
Captain Marvel definitely puts the foot in the tire.
Here's my only rebuttal to this that would make me understand why Reed Richards was just like, whatever. He mentions that his wife is alive and that he has children.
Then Wanda drops the hardest line. That's Thanos level bars. Somebody else has to raise your children.
And that is probably the hardest line of all time. If Franklin Richards is his child, and we're going to assume he has the powers that he has, he's already reality warping level crazy. He's probably like, whatever about Wanda. He should have just called his kid.
Franklin shows up, shit gets shut down immediately. I would love to see Franklin.
That's an established Fantastic Four right there. If we're picking up in a multiverse, if we're picking up with Reed Richards, John Krasinski, and possibly Emily Blunt, if they're going to keep rolling on that, then Franklin Richards would be a teenager at this point. You have the Young Avengers coming. They could easily plug and play Franklin Richards into that and make him a much more toned down version of himself. To continue with the spoiler talk, Speed and Wiccan, Wanda's children, they don't come back. No happy endings for anybody right here. Maybe Wong.
The guy who deserves it. Wong is in the trenches the whole time. And the reason I love Wong in this movie most of all is because it's never about Wong. All he asks for is a little fucking respect with the bow, dog. That's it. That's it. A little respect. A little bow. Just a little bow, because I am the Sorcerer Supreme, and I really am out here doing what it does.
I think Wong's book knowledge surpasses Doctor Strange's. I just think Doctor Strange has better sorcery.
He corrected Doctor Strange several times throughout. He's like, actually, nah, dog. If you were Sorcerer Supreme, you might fucking know this, but we actually do have this book. It actually does exist. Only I know where it is, though, because I'm Sorcerer Supreme and you're not. So maybe when people ask questions about what the fuck we got, dog, how about you be quiet? When he's talking to America Chavez, dog. But listen, man, when I ask a question, I'm talking to America. When I say shut the fuck up, dog, I'm talking to you. Don't we just be quiet?
This is what I'll say about this movie. I love Sam Raimi. Forever goated.
Period. Hall of Fame.
I want to see Scott Derrickson's version of this.
I do.
Sam Raimi stepped into a movie that was already created by someone with a specific style for that horror genre.
I think one of the bigger complaints I have about the movie overall is like, we know it's the multiverse of madness, but really not all that crazy. We don't even really spend any real time in any other multiverses that are so unique and distinct. Like what? Like that's kind of my thing is we do the scene where we fall through them. We're essentially in another world that's so similar to the one that already, that Doctor Strange is originally from, his universe. I would not have known we were in a different universe without them reminding us every 10 minutes. And don't be afraid to spend some time there. Walk around a bit, because the Savage Land, for it to be called the Multiverse of Madness and us really only spend one other time in one universe, maybe two if you want to count that, it just feels a little silly to me.
So if you're new to the channel, you like the review, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button. We appreciate you watching. We had a really fun time with this movie. Didn't quite live up to the hype in my eyes, but I think it is still a good addition to the MCU and a solid sequel for Doctor Strange. I'm excited for him moving forward. If you're interested in what we thought about Moon Knight, we have a whole Moon Knight playlist with every single episode, spoiler reviews, and we have a Lego Star Wars playthrough going through on the channel right now, which if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to enter in the 100 subscriber giveaway. So if you want to win a free Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga game on whatever you play games on, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment letting me know that you are part of the Dork Side. Dallas, thanks for joining in as always.
Yes, sir.
Peace.